Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial on Java. Today's tutorial I'm going to talk about generics. The purpose of the generics is to do a stronger type check at compile time and to eliminate the use of casting. And the generics enable types to be parameters when defining classes, interfaces, and methods. Now let's take an example. What the generics can do is I am going to have a list and I'm going to have the type as a string, ls equals new array list, and this is going to having again a string. Okay, now this is what the generics is. That means the list is going to have the string type values. Okay, now when I'm going to iterate this list, then I'm going to say for int I equals 0, I less than a start length, and then I plus plus, and I'm going to extract the value. Okay, so in this statement what I'm going to do is, or what I'm doing is, I'm taking the index, the current index of the iteration, and I'm putting that into the ls, into the list, to get the value of the string. Now if I don't have explicit, if I don't define the generics or the type in my list, then what I'll have to do, I have to do a explicit casting, because this is returning an object. Okay, but on this side this is expecting a string, so this doesn't know that what type of object this is. So in order to make it sure that we are getting a string value, we have to cast that, or cast this one to a string, and only then we can get the string value. So this is happening whenever you are not using the string type. This is called, this position is called the raw type. Okay, so whenever you're using raw type, that means you have to explicitly cast it. Now the purpose of the generics here is that we put the type over here and we eliminate the explicit casting over here, so that our code is always clean. Now let's look into the code itself. So I have an example here. This is generics01 class, and I have defined a list. And now see that if I delete the type over here, and you can see that immediately there is an error, and the error is saying that type mismatch cannot convert from object to string. Okay, so we have to do what? We have to cast this object to string, and then only this error goes off. But at the same time you can see that there are warnings, and it is saying that the list is a raw type. Reference to generic type list should be parameterized. Okay, so let's get back what it was before, and we're good. Now we talked about the raw class. Now to understand the raw class, we need to understand the definition of the generic class. So a generic class is defined with the following format: class name, so you have to put the class name first, and then within the diamond brackets you have to put the types, how many number type you want to have. You can have t1 up to tn, and then the type parameters section delimited by angle brackets follows the class name. It specifies the type parameters, also called the type variables. Okay, t1, t2 up to tn, I just said. And the most commonly used type parameter names are, you just remember that these are some of the notations that we used for this. Okay, and then we have the definition of the raw type. Okay, so a raw type is the name of a generic class or interface without any type arguments. For example, let's say we define a generic class, and we have said that this is the access modifier, public class, this is the class name, and then this is the type within the diamond brackets. Okay, so we define what? We defined a generic class. And then to create a parameterized type of box, you supply an actual type argument for the formal type parameter. Okay, so this is how we are telling that the box is having integer parameter, okay, and we are creating a new instance of it. If the actual type argument is omitted, so if we omit that, then it's going to be like this, right? And therefore box is the raw type of the generic type box T. So we are saying that this box, whenever the type parameter is not present here, okay, so this box becomes the raw type of the generic type box T. Okay, again, without the parameter, we are calling that this box is a raw type of this box. Okay, now let's look into some of the examples. Over here I have defined a generic type class which is named as generic02, and the type parameter is T. Okay, now the benefit of this type parameter is that you can have it, you can have the integer or string, you can have anything. So let's get into here. Okay, and so I have defined here what the generics 02 type T. Okay, and then I have said here private T, and then I have here void set T, and this dot T equals T. Okay, so what does it mean? This T can be of string or integer, anything. If you don't define this, then you would have to write like this: generics 02, and then private string s, and then you have to write void set and s equals s1. Okay, and you could have at the same time you had to write another one, private integer I, and then void set I1, and then I equals I1. Okay, so to avoid those things, what we are doing over here, we are just providing a generic type of T. Okay, we are providing a generic type T, and this T can be both string or integer. So this increases our code reusability perspective. So if we look into our code over here, you can see that I have instantiated, it's no more a raw type, and I'm telling that the parameter is going to be integer, and new generics integer. I have created a new reference for generics int, and I have created the generics string reference as well, and this one is having the string parameter type, and then I'm passing on integer, and I'm passing on a string, and then I'm going to get the value, and whenever I'm going to run it, let's run. Okay, and you can see that the integer value is 10 and string value is hello world. So this is what it's doing. This is actually improving the code reusability, and the code is so concise, and it's very clean. Okay, so now this is what we are doing, or we are defining a generic type, and we have also created the generic type class, and we have seen that how to work or how to use the parameters using the generic types. Okay, so in the next tutorial I'll be talking about the generic methods. Okay, thanks, bye.